Everybody, welcome back to the Only Points podcast with your host, Eddie Garcia. We got Alexis Martinez and Eddie Mercado with our special guest tonight. It is Mario Macias. Mario Macias is actually a personal trainer. He's a good friend of mine. He's a business partner as well. We got a few things working in the background. We'll talk about that in another episode. But Mario, if you want, you can go ahead and introduce yourself to the public.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. So my name is Mario Macias. I'm 23. I'm from Monterey, California. I just moved out to Vegas from San Diego, California about 8 months ago. I started my online coaching fitness business about 2 years ago. I started it just out of passion. I wanted to help people. I wanted to step into the fitness industry, and it just kind of happened on its own. I ran into a mentor of mine, now one of my best friends, Zach, and he helped me start off everything. He showed me how to build a business, how to have an offer, how to help people. And from there, it just kind of scaled. I started meeting people like Eddie himself. I've established some really good relationships, and now I'm here.
That's awesome. So now, like you said, you officially live in Vegas. And how long have you been living here for?
For about 8 months now. So I moved out here end of August, beginning of September.
Can you tell the guys where you last moved from?
San Diego.
San Diego. So that's how I met you. And would you say that it was the right decision? Because I love San Diego. I also come here a lot myself. So how are you liking it here so far?
So I'm going to say this. I absolutely love San Diego, but my heart right now is in Vegas. It depends what you need. If you are looking to scale a business, I would 100% say that depending on your network, Vegas might be a better spot. You know, there's no state taxes. The cost of living is great. And so far, I've only been out here for less than a year, and I've made some amazing connections. Everybody has been really welcoming. And like, once again, I'm on this podcast. You know, we have the strip right here. And if you're down to network, if you're down to put in the work, and if you're down to help other people, then I feel like Vegas is an amazing spot. But if you want quality of life and you want to retire, it's San Diego all the way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Did you have something to say?
No, I was actually going to ask you, like, that's a very valid point. So you want to retire in San Diego. You're living here now. Do you think that's a bit of a sacrifice?
100%, but I don't see it as a sacrifice. In a way, when I was living in San Diego, I almost felt guilty. I was living next to the palm trees. We had an amazing apartment. I was like right there, dead center in Mission Valley. It was always sunny, it's beautiful, and part of me was like, I don't belong in paradise right now. I want to be somewhere where I'm almost bored, but if I need to be in the city, I'm able to. I can just drive 20 minutes. I need to network.
20 minutes max.
Yeah, no, everything's super close. So it might sound like a sacrifice in the moment, especially since people talk about the heat. There's nothing to do out here, supposedly. There's so much. But yeah, to me, it's not a sacrifice. To me, it's just what I need now in my life. And one day, I mean, if I want to go back to San Diego or Monterey, then I mean, I can.
Perfect.
That's actually very interesting. They said that there's nothing to do here, or that it's boring. Because to me, it's completely the opposite way. Because we know each other.
Yeah.
I have a lot of connections and friends here in Vegas. So when
That took you how long to create?
it didn't take too long, but yeah, it was over the years of me being able going through different networks and being able to meet people and et cetera, et cetera. But now it would be, if I would decided to move here, I would probably be busy and going out on a daily basis, which that sounds terrible, right? So that's why it's like when people ask me when am I going to move here, it's like I don't know if that's going to be the right decision for me, because of all the people that I know and everybody that I would like to hang out with at the same time. So but that's awesome. I'm glad that you are able to stay focused here, though. That's the other thing. If you actually have the determination and the willpower, Vegas, it is a spot where you can just isolate yourself and stay focused, because there's outside of the strip, yes, I guess it could be a little bit boring, and you can isolate and just get to work. But if you're like on the street where we are right now, dude, there's something going on every 30 seconds. It's insane. But that's awesome. I didn't even know you were from Monterey.
Yeah.
I thought you were always from San Diego. How long were you in San Diego for?
So I was in San Diego for 2 years. When I moved out to San Diego, it was just a jump and take on business. I didn't know what I was doing. I wanted to build something with fitness, and I couldn't do that in my hometown. And anybody who is building business, I'm assuming if you are into entrepreneurship, you are starting business or thinking about starting business, it's kind of hard to do that in your hometown. a lot of people aren't going to take you serious. They're going to think you're, trying to do something or trying to be someone you're not. And the best way to counter that is relocating, change your environment. The best reason why is because I always tell people, you can tell somebody you're something and they're not going to question it. You can tell somebody you're Batman and they'll be like, okay, cool. Nice to meet you, Batman. Like, nobody's going to question it, and you start creating your own identity.
That's very true. That's
Yes,
very
yes.
true. Okay, cool. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, how did you specifically decide like fitness was the thing that I wanted to get a start on? So how did that actually came to like, did you try other things and it just led you to this? Because that's what happened to me. Certain things happened to me, and then I was like, I need to fix my credit, or I need to figure this out. And then I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, I need to start helping people out with this. Yeah. How did it happen with you on the fitness journey?
So that's funny. I tried a couple of things before I dove fully into fitness.
What were those things, if you don't mind me?
So I tried social media marketing. I wanted to build an agency. That crashed and burned just because of imposter syndrome. There was a lot of workload. I didn't fully understand it off the courses I was taking. So that kind of went downhill. I was going to take on contracting with my dad. So he has a contracting business. I was supposed to take it over. And right when I was about to get my license and everything, something told me not to do it. And what that was because I knew I always wanted to do fitness, and in a way I was running away from fitness to do contracting. It was my safety net. And when I realized that, I actually had a friend call me out on it. When I realized that, I told my dad, I told him I can't do this anymore. A month later, I packed my stuff and moved to San Diego. So those were the two things that I tried, and it just didn't work out. And
so you moved to San Diego without even having the business started, just being like, I'm going to figure it out as soon as I get there?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing.
Can you actually give a little bit, like your definition of what's imposter syndrome? Because I actually don't know what that means.
So imposter syndrome is anytime you're about to level up, or I feel this is like kind of my interpretation
okay.
of it.
So I think before you even give the definition, I think I know what the definition is now, but obviously I'm going to let you finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my definition of imposter syndrome, the way I think about it is anytime you're about to level up, you're going to feel insecure, and you're going to feel like you don't belong around the people around you. You feel like an imposter. And everybody feels like this. I've talked to people that are 7-figure earners, 8-figure earners. It never really goes away. There's always somebody above you. There's always somebody doing better than you. And when you surround yourself around people that make you feel insignificant, you're going to feel like an imposter. And moving to San Diego made me feel that way. I moved away from my hometown. I had people clowning me, talking to me at my back, and like the whispers would get back to you,
Correct.
And I felt like moving to San Diego would help with that, and it just increased it because then I was surrounded by influencers. I was surrounded by people already crushing
Like-minded
it.
individuals.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's actually kind of funny because I felt the same way, and I can relate to you in that sense that I wasn't even half as motivated when I started my businesses where I was living, which is in California as well, except we have similarities. Just a small difference where you went from moving from Monterey to San Diego, which is Cali to still Cali. I just immediately moved, but it's quite interesting that everybody says, leave your hometown. That's the biggest life hack. Go where you don't know anybody, obviously with like-minded individuals, and those people are the ones that are actually going to like reach out to you and help you level up. So that's actually quite great.
That's actually something that actually happened to me as well. I'm still in San Diego. I haven't moved out officially. But my thing is that when I started credit, it was also one of those things where I was so insecure about the results. So I never charged people at the beginning, right? I just did it for friends, family, just helping out. And then eventually when somebody actually reached out to me is like, I need help, or when it came to my very first paid client, I was sweating bricks. I was like, I don't know if I'm qualified to do this, you know? And then how I got rid of that was right after I started the process, a month later, I got the results, and they all came back positive, got everything deleted that I needed to delete off my first round of disputes, which is not common, right? Yeah. And when that happened, all of a sudden, I couldn't believe it. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, just check my credit score. Everything went up and the accounts are gone. I was like, what? You're kidding me? I sent the letters like 20 something days ago, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like
Was this
jumping up and down. What's up?
Was this like pre-COVID when the credit bureaus weren't as swamped?
I can't. Yeah, it was pre-COVID. Yeah.
That's awesome. Because now post-COVID, it's like they went from 30-day response to 45 days, correct?
No, there's still times when I get like in 2 weeks
That's awesome.
the results. Now I'm not saying like completely like everything
Wiped
wiped
out,
off,
no.
but
That's awesome.
no, yeah, there's certain things like like we can remove hard inquiries within 24 or 72 hours, stuff like that. But yeah, man, it was such a feeling of like, man, I don't know if I truly should be doing this or touching this man's credit. Like,
Yeah.
I was so scared because I didn't feel like I belonged. And then I remember after that, I started posting a lot on social media, and I'm pretty sure I was thinking like, man, probably all these guys I went to high school with and college with, they're like, what the hell is he doing? My sister actually just told me the other day, she told me, I don't even know if what you're doing is legal. I was like, how do you not know or like even take in consideration what your younger brother, your only sibling is doing?
Yeah.
Like I you know?
And that's the power of the online space is when you tell your parents about it and stuff, they're not really gonna understand, where the money's coming from, how you're making it. I remember I told my dad the first time I made $4,000, and his first reaction was like, "Wow, really? Are you sure that's legal? Are you gonna pay your taxes?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's legal. What are you talking about?" And that's when I first started seeing what the online space could actually do for you. And in any service, you're doing credit, I'm doing fitness, you're doing Amazon, and it doesn't really matter what you tap into. You're able to scale so much further and like reach way more people through the online space.
Correct. Why do you think that is?
I think reach. You're able to get in front of more people, somebody that you can connect with that you never thought you'd be able to connect with, in a different state, different country. You're like, wow, I vibe with this guy. I understand him. He has the same values. I'd rather work with him than, the local trainer at my gym. Or I'd rather work with Eddie, the credit repair guy, instead of the guy that my mom knows. Because you connect more. You build more of a relationship through a screen, which is pretty crazy when you think about it.
That's actually true because a lot of people like, I've been in the social media space, not creating, but like one of my escapes when I was younger was watching YouTube videos, and it was crazy seeing how much people adored and idolized YouTubers who would post it like daily or like mostly weekly, and they create such a big following consistently, right? And they create such a big following, and then you feel like, man, I saw this person go from nothing to like all the way over here, and you feel like the people watching was part of the journey of that.
Correct.
So this is why social media is such a huge influence to growing a brand and growing a business, and this is why we can scale a lot better. But yeah, so awesome, all of that information, all those points that we just said, but I wanted to go into exactly the day we met, because we met in a funny way, which is actually how I met a lot of people, and thanks to this one person. So if you want to tell that quick story.
So first I want to say shout out Big Mac, best cuts in San Diego. If you're not going to Blend's headquarters right there in North Park, make sure just book your appointment, go.
Absolutely.
This is going to be your last barber that you go to, because you're going to always want to be on his calendar.
Correct.
But yeah, man.
Hold on. Wait. This person cut my hair too.
Yeah.
No cap. Like, there was one time, I remember the exact date. It was June 28th of 2022. He cut my hair, and I showed up.
How do you know these exact dates?
Because that's the day I got robbed. That's the day I had a burglary in my apartment. So when you file police reports, you tend to know.
I hope so.
Yeah, it sucked. But no, it's actually kind of funny. But yeah, I'm going to let you guys finish because I have a story myself too.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah. Go ahead.
That's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, like I said, make sure to check them out. If you're watching this and you're ever in San Diego, you won't regret it. But I needed my credit fixed. I was like, well, my shit's messed up. Do you know a guy? And he was just like, yeah, this guy's actually just fixing up mine. He's super dope. He's gonna hook you up. He gave me his Instagram. I booked a call with you, and then it was supposed to be a 20-minute introduction call, just kind of see what's up. We hopped on a call, and we talked about business for over an hour. And I was like, I like this guy.
Typical with Eddie Garcia.
Yeah.
Typical.
I was like, I like this guy. Immediately, we vibed, we clicked, and from there, we just kind of kept in communication. We'd check up on each other. You're checking, make sure everything was running fine on my end with just taking care of me. And from there, we just continue to establish and nurture this relationship.
Yeah, so currently we are to the point where you're my personal trainer, and we got something else working in the background, which again we'll discuss later. But yeah, man. So it's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey. It's been an amazing dude. So
It's been great, man.
super great that I got to meet you. And then these guys, you just met them today, right?
Yeah, no, I met Eddie about 2 months ago.
Just about ish, yeah.
Yeah, so we were at the Palazzo, I believe.
Right.
We were right there. We were just getting a cigar, getting a couple of drinks. That's the first time.
You
I
guys
met
were. I wasn't.
Oh yeah. You
No,
went.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But no, yeah, you guys were. I was mainly at the craps tables just because.
Side passion.
Yeah, side passion. Careful gambling, guys.
Right. No, but yeah. So, but yeah, Eddie, you got to tell that story.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny though. I don't. Like it's not bad. It's not horrible. Anything. I actually walk in, and some guy goes, "Hey, yo, my man. I know you," and I'm like, "This is literally like my first time in this area of San Diego. It's my first time in this barbershop. First off, it took me a while to find it. It did take me a while to find it. I couldn't even find the door. So I'm like, how am I stepping into this building and somebody's automatically like telling me that they know me? So I'm like, how? And then like, the boy Eddie Garcia posts you all the time. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, so yeah, what's up? And then out of like, so I'm listening with one ear. In the other ear, I hear, hey man, can I get you a beer at a barber shop, which is now like, I guess, normalized now. So it's like, no, I'm good, thank you though. And then I start chopping it up with Big Mac, but then he's like, yeah, I'm about to take care of you. I think he cut my hair. Obviously, like you guys said, that's the last barber you're gonna need in San Diego. I only went once, of course, because my barber's actually in Turlock, but I don't go to Turlock for haircuts every once in a while. But no, yeah, that's the story. So it made me feel special because
That's a good point.
he recognized, and even though he didn't have to do any of that, he made me feel comfortable, and I think that's what prolongs business. That's what I would actually say that
100%.
Psychologically it did something to me, because I remember that story. I'm getting a nice fuzzy feeling right now, and I'll go as far as to say that if you remember names of people that you're trying to do business with, something's going to kick in their mind and say, you know what, this person remembers my name. This person is busy. Now I feel special because he remembers.
That's
so
true.
every conversation is different.
Big facts.
But that's big facts from Big Mac.
That's a great point, man. Because before I went to Big Mac, I got about 5 haircuts at 5 other shops, and I didn't go back. I went to that one. I went once, and I went there every 2 weeks.
You're like, this is it.
Yeah, I didn't have to check out any other spots, and that says something. I went
No
to 5
need.
other spots.
No
Yeah.
need.
Yeah,
to go
that's
somewhere
what's
else.
kind of and I'll go as far as to say that too. Like, I've been living in Las Vegas, so I moved from Cali to Las Vegas, so that's where we relate. Since January 31st of 2022, that is 1 year and almost 2 months exactly, because today is March 28th.
Wow.
It's March 28th.
Jesus Christ.
I haven't found a barber that I can consistently go back to. There was a barber that was fun, but I can't get too. I'm not gonna get too much into details. But I went with that person like 3 or 4 times, but that was it. I'm still looking for a barber for me to permanently go to. So,
I'll send you over to my boy Socrates.
oh, there you go.
It's been over a year already.
It's been over a
Wow.
year, and not a. I haven't got a haircut in a year. No, just kidding. No.
How often do you go?
I try to go every 2 or 3 weeks, honestly. I'm not somebody that needs to look fresh every Friday, especially since I don't go out anymore. And I know it's hard to believe, but I'd much rather stay in and work.
That's
and
true.
That's
It's seasons.
with the exception of the homies coming out, that's almost that's almost mandatory. But other than that,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, perfect time to start this. But since you're a personal trainer and this is what you focus on, for everybody listening here, listening to this is usually a business owner, entrepreneurship, other good friends of ours, or business partners. What are some tips that you can give them where they can start working towards achieving their fitness goals? And then how should, out of those people that are listening, let's say they've never worked out before, how should they get started?
So yeah, there's a couple of key points that I want to dive into this. I want to say, one, get clarity. What is it that you want? What is it that you need in your life right now? If you're in a season of work and you're building a business and you are putting a lot of the front end work, you probably aren't looking to get a six-pack, be shredded, and have this insane physique. You probably want to look good, feel rested, and have a lot of energy to get a lot of work done. So you probably aren't going to be working out 6 times a week. You probably aren't going to be dieting super crazy. Realize what it is that you need in your life right now, what it is that you want, and then run with that. If you're new to it, get inside of the gym, do compound movements 3 times a week, be consistent, build structure. I'd say the biggest thing, especially for entrepreneurs or just anybody, is sleep. Get a consistent amount of sleep, go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time. You don't want to be neglecting sleep, Eddie. And
Yeah.
Which one? No, I'm just kidding.
Both of you
Everybody
guys,
knows what they're talking
probably.
about. Everybody knows what they're talking about me.
I just felt that smack.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You don't want to be neglecting, especially for like a young entrepreneur, especially if you're a man. You don't want to be tanking your testosterone levels by 40%, simply because you don't want to sleep. It's going to take a toll on you, if not now, in 6 months, a year from now.
40%.
40%.
Yep.
Yeah, my eyebrows went up on that one. I know you guys saw
Oh
that.
damn!
Yeah.
So you're telling me I could have 40% more testosterone if I
You're
just
sleeping
slept?
more.
I think I already got enough to. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna dive deep into that one.
Thank you for that one.
I mean, yeah, the studies are crazy when you realize how much sleep really affects your hormones and just your productivity throughout the day. One thing that I read a long time ago was the reason you spend 12 hours working is because it's taking you 12 hours to do something that should take you 4 hours. And the reason for that is because you don't sleep. You're not focused. Wow. You're not getting the work done quick enough because you procrastinate. You're fiddling with things, or you're not thinking straight. And I remember I read that in a time where I was neglecting my sleep. I was in a building phase. I thought I just had to grind it out, and I was not sleeping, taking Adderall, not resting, and still cutting. And that's why I say it comes in seasons. When I was doing that, I probably should have pulled back on stress and focused more on work. Instead, I focused too much on work and added more stress, and the quality of my work tanked. And if you don't have clarity, that's what will happen.
Do you mind getting a little scientifical, and like how does that work? Because I know when you get an elevated amount of stress, cortisol levels go up,
Yeah.
right? And what does cortisol do to your body, if you don't mind me?
So cortisol is catabolic. It's going to break things down. And when you aren't sleeping and you are already stressed, it's this cycle that never ends. So you're going to not sleep because you're stressed, and then you're going to be more stressed because you're not sleeping, and then you're going to be more stressed at work because you're not getting things done, and then you're not going to sleep because you have work to do. And it's just this never-ending cycle of not getting things done.
That's like having bad credit and applying for credit, and
It gets worse.
it gets worse.
Yeah.
So you apply for something and it gets worse, and then you have even shittier credit, so it gets even worse.
And
Yep.
then you
So-
apply for credit cards, and then you get that approved for $300, and then you miss a few late payments, and it just gets worse from there.
And then not only do you have bad credit, you are also, your cortisol levels
Facts, though. Facts.
mix business with your health. So
Actually, which is something I brought up to you recently, because again, Mario is my personal trainer. On Friday, I had to record something, and the night before, I couldn't sleep. Remember,
Yeah.
I texted you early in the morning. I was like, I try to go to. Unfortunately, my sleep schedule has been horrible from the amount of travel I've been doing and everything else that I've been working. I have multiple businesses that I'm running. So the night before, on Thursday, I woke up at like 3 p.m. and I was like, fuck. Like, I'm so pissed off that I woke up so late. Now I'm going to grind it out. But I know my sleep is important, so I need to get back on schedule. So I'm going to go to sleep latest 12 p.m.
Yeah.
12 p.m. rolls around.
12
Got a
p.m.
last
midnight.
minute. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, you're right. Midnight, 12 a.m.
12 midnight.
Then I got a phone call last minute, answering the phone from a lawyer. I was talking on the phone with a lawyer for almost an hour. 1 a.m. rolls around. Gotta go to bed. Go to bed. Cannot fall asleep. I was just laying in bed with my eyes open, or trying to force myself to go to sleep until 3:30 in the morning. Got up, went to take a sleep medication pill. It said wait 30 minutes, cool. Waited an extra 45 just to make sure. Go back to bed around 4.
Wait. So you waited 30 minutes, and then you said you waited 45 minutes.
No,
so
sorry. So total 45 minutes.
Total, okay.
So an extra
Because
15 minutes, yeah.
I
Correct.
didn't know if you meant 30 minutes and then you waited an additional 45 minutes, because that's already...
Yeah, poor word choice. My bad. So waited 45 minutes total. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna add an extra 15 because I'm still not feeling it. Went to bed. I got back up at 6:30 in the morning. No sleep at all. No, even my Aura ring did not cap everything. It captured a nap. It asked me, "Did you take a nap?" And it said it was for 1 hour, and you saw it like awake, like REM sleep, awake, REM sleep. It just like kept spiking back in and out.
That's not cool.
So then I just got up. Friday comes along. I have to record multiple videos for our new backend for our credit company. I was like, easy, quick 2 to 5 minute videos explaining where this is at, how to do this, how to input this. I called you right afterward, or I texted you right after I did that, and I was so pissed off because the entire recording was me doing this. All right, you guys, so now you're gonna do. Wait, you got to start here, and you got to do this. Where does this go again? Oh yeah, it goes right here, you guys. Like,
so no focus.
And I could not, no focus. Words were not
so
coming out. I was thinking of the word in my brain, but I couldn't say it. It was super frustrating. I was getting like, you could probably hear how frustrated I was getting throughout the recording, just because.
Sounds like me.
And that was like probably the first time that's happened to me in a long time.
That has to be pretty scary.
It is. Yeah. It is scary when you get to that point. This is where I tell people, if you don't decide when to sleep, your body's going to decide for you, and you don't know when that is. It can be when you're driving. It can be when you're on a meeting. Ooh. I've seen somebody fall asleep on a meeting from like exhaustion, and it's not a good look with your employees, with your people, especially if you're training. And then 2, you don't really know exactly what's happening. You're missing out so much throughout the day, information that you're not processing, and it could be very important information. But like you said, it is scary. It's when you're that exhausted and you don't necessarily know what's going on. Everything feels like a dream. Nothing feels real. In a sense.
Yeah, because to be conscious, to know that I know what I need to say, but I can't process it.
Right.
You're not in control.
Is you are.
It's like you might as well be drunk.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
At that point.
That's crazy. So just to recap on this, like, what are the tips that you recommend? Is obviously big time sleep schedule.
Yeah.
It's more important to have a time you go to sleep than a wake up routine, because personally for me, for the last few months, I try to force myself to wake up at a certain time, but I never had a time where I try to force myself to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So even if I went to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, I try to wake myself up at 8 a.m. or 8 a.m. But it never happened because my body was just exhausted. So once I started working with you, the thing that worked was, screw what time I go wake up. Let's just go to bed at this time every single time. My body will wake up naturally at that time.
Yeah.
So it's funny because credit jackers just like looking at us like, look at these clowns not knowing when to go to sleep. This is the guy that goes to bed at 10:30 p.m. every night. So you want to talk to us about your sleep schedule?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
So one thing that I do notice is that we have very different sleep schedules, right? And mine is very different from Eddie's.
So you have a sleep schedule.
I do.
Yeah, mine is non-existent at the moment. I don't. Yeah.
So one of the things that I noticed when we usually do these podcasts, right? Because we usually do it like in
normally Wednesdays,
Tuesdays, during the week. So we'll probably be like in Vegas or New York, LA, etc. But the thing that I've noticed is that my sleep schedule is usually I'll wake up at 7 a.m., go to sleep around midnight. So 7 hours roughly I get a sleep.
Pause. What do you think is the appropriate amount of sleep? Because for me, I would only go as far as to say I genuinely only try to get 6 hours of sleep. But what, in your professional opinion, what is the best?
It comes down to the quality. If you're getting 9 hours of sleep and it's trash quality, then you can probably get better rest and feel a lot better at 6 hours of sleep that's high quality.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and quality, I guess that's when the saying comes in, quality over quantity, because I guess you could try to fall asleep for like 12 hours a day, but if it's shit quality, then it doesn't equate.
Yeah,
so
100%.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so basically for me, like, let's just call it operating schedule, right? It's 7 a.m. to 12 midnight. But, the things that I've noticed is that Eddie, he'll stay up longer, I don't know, like, let's just say 3 or 4 a.m., give or take.
Correct, yeah.
Something like that. But he'll wake up way later, or it's not every day, right? But like he'll generally wake up later than me, so
Yep.
it's just something interesting that I've noticed, and I think I also noticed that about Gems, that I think he does it even later than you.
No, so sometimes I just decide just not to go to sleep because sometimes 3, 4, 5 o'clock rolls around and I was like, well, I have meetings at 9, 10, 11, 12. I might as well just not go to sleep because if I go to bed right now, I'm not going to wake up. So that happens. So then the next day I'm like, well, now I definitely got to go to sleep early. But my body's so used to it, like 8, 9, 10 at night coming around. And I'm like, well, I'm not tired yet because it's this, my body's rhythm is like, I'm still awake during this time. And then I still end up going to sleep like at 1, 2, or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know how you guys do it. Like, how you stay up all night.
They're in this competition to see who can get the most work done under the with less sleep, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, actually, so a quick question for you: how do you prepare your environment, or how can we make sure that we're getting quality sleep instead of just quantity?
I'm glad you asked that. That's such a great question because that's what it comes down to. If you can get 8 hours of quality sleep, you're going to feel like $1,000,000. And nobody realizes how shitty they feel until they feel good. Same thing with fitness. You don't feel how healthy you really are or how good it feels to feel good until you feel good. You didn't realize like, wow, that was my normal. But we just accept that as our normal. Another great thing is digestion. Nobody realizes how shit their digestion was until they have great digestion and their body's
Big
running
facts.
good.
Unless you're Eddie Mercado.
No, hold on.
Rebuttal.
No, massive pause because, yeah, like literally a year ago, that was my biggest struggle.
Yeah.
But now I actually know what regular bowel movement is.
No, it's a flex. I tell people all the time, it's a flex. If you're running properly and your gut health is in check, you know that you're already operating better than 90% of people. Nobody takes care of their gut.
It was kind of crazy because one of the biggest things about me was, you know how like, oh, this motivates me. This was unmotivating me. Like my gut health was unmotivating me. Secondarily, so what I mean is, it didn't matter how tight my diet was. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if I was consuming nothing but protein. I couldn't build muscle because my digestive tract, my intestines they just weren't absorbing the nutrients. Correct. And now it's like I get a health doctor. She starts cleaning out my gut. Well, she doesn't do it. She guides me, right? Yeah. And it's like the little that I did eat and the little that I did work out. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but
you see some massive results.
Instantly, and I was like, yo, wait.
Emotionally as well.
Barely did anything, or I have been barely doing anything. Like, you got to work out with us yesterday, Credit Checker.
I did,
like,
yeah.
how hard or heavy did we go?
We went pretty heavy, and I was trying to keep up with these guys, and I kept up on some of them, but on other exercises I couldn't. But these guys go hard.
But how many exercises did we do, and how many sets?
We did 3 sets of every exercise, and I want to say that each muscle group we did 2 exercises.
It was only 2 or 3 exercises max.
Right.
So a lot of people like to spend hours at the gym, overloading. You guys, well, I would think, you're the one to say your body can only recover so much, yes?
You want to get the most out of the least amount. You don't have to be doing 7 exercises like you said right now. I do 3, 4 exercises per workout, and if you train with me, you're gonna be fucking exhausted.
That's what. Okay, so you've trained with Gems, and Gems trains me. Mm-hmm. So you're not there, but I'm almost getting what. We need a workout.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's set it up.
We go to the same gym. We go to the same gym, so it's like, why not? We need at least one good sesh because you've worked out with him.
Yes.
I
felt so crying. Good. Crying? I wasn't crying, dude. I felt amazing, dude. I have not done, like, I was surprised
wait, say that again?
I felt amazing.
Imagine sleeping well, too.
Right? No, I know, because
cold plunges, too.
Right? All right, I fixed my sleep schedule for a few weeks there a few months ago, but then stuff happened. I got out of whack, traveling a lot. I met somebody in my life right now, so it's taking up a lot of my time.
It's always a girl.
But yeah,
the downfall.
But here's the crazy thing: when I've been on your schedule for like 2 months now, ish months. I was that prepared me for what the workout you got for me. Even though I could not lift as much as you do, but the amount of weight that I was pushing was like I was surprised.
Yeah.
Very surprised.
Well, because weight is relative too. What's heavy to me is going to be light to somebody else, and what's light to me is going to be heavy to somebody else. It's all relative.
Correct.
That is correct.
Of course.
But yeah, the workouts we were doing, I was pushing. You saw how hard I was pushing. Like even you're like, all right, this is your last rep, and I did like 2 or 3 more because I was just like, even if you have to help me out, like I gotta like fatigue the crap out of my muscle. And I know that I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had just started like 2 weeks ago working out again.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have injured myself so easily. But so big props to you, man. You're making a huge difference in my workout routine.
I'm
for
glad,
sure.
man. I love to hear that.
If you guys don't work out, obviously even 30 minutes a day, but if there's one thing I can tell you, I notice everything. I don't know if you guys know, but
Yeah, you have a keen eye for you. We actually, me and James were talking about that yesterday. That you make some of the strangest connections at first, but until you explain why, we're like, how did you even think about that, making that connection?
I call it collecting data.
Yeah.
You examine, and then eventually it all clicks.
I'm not even gonna lie, it's the colored eyes. But no, so I have a keen eye in detail. I pay attention to the most minuscule things. But I would say that this one's a little major. I don't want to work out 7 days a week. I don't. Gem on day 62. I'm like, that's huge, massive accomplishment. I do try to train 5 to 6 days a week though, but that day that I do take off, I don't get the best sleep. I don't. Well, it's not that I get the best sleep or I don't get the best quality sleep, but I do know when I'm exhausted, when I'm physically exhausted, I just like...
You're going to sleep like a king.
Like a king, yeah. And if you guys know anything about my bed, I got a 8-inch memory foam king.
Damn.
Yeah. So definitely. Even if it's 30 minutes a day, I would say.
So quick recap on the tips. Again, great sleep. Well, do everything you can to get quality sleep. Go ahead and go to sleep at a certain hour. So sleep is the biggest point. And then what about, and you said compound movements, start off with compound movements.
Yeah.
Can you explain what a compound movement is?
Yeah.
Because
so like what are the, like I know there's like 3 essential compound movements.
So it's just going to be a multi-joint movement. So think of a bench press, a squat, a deadlift, shoulder press, a lunge. These are going to be exercises that are going to be using multiple muscle groups in your body. And the reason you want to do these is because if you're working out 3 times out of the week, you don't need to be doing an insane amount of things. Just do the right exercises, get the most out of it, and then go recover properly. Focus on your nutrition, focus on your sleep. And this is why it's huge to have clarity behind what it is that you need in your life right now, because if you are in a season of building, you probably don't need to be working out every single day. Go get movement though. 100%. Go get some steps.
I was about to say that. I was going to tell you one, because even for me as an entrepreneur, I'm on the computer all day, every day, and we were actually working on this. But I told you one of my biggest issues is the mobility in my hips. So because I was in a car accident in 2019, I couldn't walk for multiple months. It was almost an entire year. I would get extremely fatigued walking or being standing, and it was just my hip flexors and my lower back. I was able to fix my lower back through time, but my hip flexors stayed tight, and that's what we're currently working on right now. Which it was one of the things that bothered me when I'm sitting here. I don't know why my hip flexors would just randomly activate, and by the time I got up, I was like, why are my legs sore? Like, how are my legs sore from sitting down? And it was just so uncomfortable. Like, it made me pause working and try to move myself. So now I'm seeing a big difference, even with when I try to squat. For years, since 2019, I couldn't go all the way down. Like, you would see me, like, one knee would be fucking lower than the other. And so I would say, again, everybody is different. Everybody might, if you're a girl and you have great flexibility, this might not be an issue for you. But again, like, you need to know what you want and where you're at, and then see where you want to have, and then work on those little things. But again, compound movements, mobility, sleep.
Yeah.
Awesome. So imagine that you have issues with your hips, and when you squat, or of course you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and you notice that one of your knees, because this happened to me, I actually fractured. I had a green stick fracture, the worst kind of fracture. I had a green stick fracture on my right ankle, and I would notice that my right knee would go in. I can't fix that on my own. I can't. I would need guidance. I would need somebody to specifically stretch me out. I mean, I needed to go to the chiropractor. I had physical therapy for 3 months. That was fun, but it wasn't fun. Does that make sense? It was fun getting stretched out, but it wasn't fun because I actually had to like show up. I had to drive like 34 minutes one way. But
Awesome.
another point.
Yeah, so actually to wrap this one up, this one goes hand in hand. So you mentioned this already, like if you, or we've inferred it already, if you've been listening to the podcast, you should understand why to this question. But the question is, why should business owners and entrepreneurs be even interested in fitness for themselves? And I'm going to take an extra one, even for their employees.
Yeah.
So if you want to go ahead and talk about that.
So there's two angles I like to look at this, like two approaches. It's one, if you're an entrepreneur, probably means you're competitive. And if you want to beat everybody else, you need to be at your best.
Wow.
And the other one is you have one life, make it your best, be the healthiest you can be. Also, the discipline actually opens up a lot of freedom for you. Every time I go out, people are like, how are you drinking? How are you eating pizza? How are you eating burgers? Like, well, I'm on track 90% of the year. I can have this burger. I can have 4 or 5 drinks if I want. I'm on track the rest of the time. So having that discipline actually opens up that freedom.
What are the names of the cereal stars that we were just eating right now?
Which ones? Oh, I have no idea, but they're amazing.
Why are you eating those? Because we can.
Yeah, because we 100% we can. And once you start learning about macros, it sounds like it's a lot, but it's really not. You learn how to manipulate your favorite foods. So I haven't eaten much all day. I nailed most of my proteins. I still need a lot of carbs and I still need a lot of fats. I'm probably gonna smack some Panda Express to get my calories in so that I can reach my goals, which right now is to lose weight. So yes, I'm gonna eat Panda Express to help me lose weight at where I'm at right now. So you just by understanding the nuances and fundamentals, you learn how to manipulate the game. And this goes for any industry. If you learn credits, if you learn the nuances, the fundamentals, you can manipulate the game. You can get free rooms with credit points. You can get free flights. You don't need to know everything. You need to know the fundamentals, the basics, and the nuances, and you can get very far with that.
You could turn credit into cash.
We're not going to talk about that.
That's a forbidden topic.
That's only forbidden topic. But okay, and that's perfect. What about the employees? They're not like you said, entrepreneurs are hungry, motivated, et cetera. So why should they also make sure that their employees?
So
just a sec, I do have a very, very strong point. You stated if you're an entrepreneur and you're taking care of your health, that states that you're competitive.
Yeah.
That gave me chills. You know,
because there's other people in the game and everybody's out to try to beat you, and it's an abundant world. There's enough for everybody.
There really is.
But the game is it's a competitive nature. I'm an online personal trainer. I'm competing with other online personal trainers to create a better brand, to create better results, and create a better experience. If these other trainers are doing more than me, focusing on their sleep, not drinking, creating a better experience for their clients, then they're gonna beat me. And I'm a competitive person. I've always have been. So why not play the game and be as competitive as I can be? And this goes for anything. So if you're a business owner, take advantage, because most people aren't.
Correct, because we know, well, one of your mentors has a strict rule that he doesn't do business with.
He doesn't do business with a lot of people. He doesn't do business. There's a few red flags that he has for
There's
himself.
3 majors.
Yeah. So one of them is definitely he doesn't do business with or is friends with people who are not achieving their personal best in the physique area. So I'm trying to.
That's the most polite way.
That is the most polite way I can say it. So reason why, because they want somebody. If they're not taking care of themselves, then why would I think that they're gonna take care of my business?
100%. I agree with that.
That is one of his strict rules. The other strict rule that he has is he would still do business with this person, but they would not be part of his crew that he will hang out with or bring his people around. It will be people who don't have an abundance mentality. It goes stricter. If as a male, if you cannot pick up a woman, if you have no
steez,
I'm trying to say it because there's someone in the room. I can't say how he says it, but if you cannot pick a woman, if you just are horrible with a woman,
no riz.
If you have no riz,
I hate that word.
I hate that word too.
You cannot. You're not. He's not gonna be your friend. He will not hang out with you. Why? Because people who are don't have an abundance mentality, if you bring your woman around them, they would do anything to backstab you to take them away from you,
Get that little attention.
to get that attention that they crave so badly.
And I agree with this 100%. It reeks desperation, and somebody that doesn't know how to talk to a woman or can't really pull a girl, and you don't even have to be attractive. You don't even have to be like handsome. You don't even have to be fit. You can simply just have great people skills and still go pull a beautiful young 100%. Lady.
However, being fit and it helps your
confidence,
your self-confidence.
It does, yeah.
And you see the biggest edge.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's that. So another reason why, again, socially, you want to be able to be at your best physique.
Yeah.
Right?
Mario, I want to ask you really quick. We're on the topic of why sleep matters, why recovery matters, obviously diet matters. So I'm sure you've heard of the saying, abs are made in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And you've also heard something similar, like abs are like 80% in diet, 20% exercise per se.
Yeah.
How would sleep factor in, like, let's just say those three things: sleep, diet, and exercise.
Yes.
How would you say that, like, instead of 80-20, like how would sleep be factored in?
So I don't break anything into percentages because it all works as one. It's one machine.
Course.
When you hit a plateau, plateaus don't really exist. Plateau just means you're failing in one of these three areas or in all these areas: recovery, training, and nutrition. You can see exactly why you're hitting a plateau if you just dive into those three and see, okay, where am I coming up short? But to get back to your point, abs, everybody has abs. We all have our abs underneath our body fat. So when people say that it's made in the kitchen, what they really mean is if you focus on diet and you are in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight and eventually you will have abs. I don't train abs. I just do my compounds and that trains my core. I'll do abs like once every 2 weeks. But
you eat panda for abs.
I eat panda for abs. I laugh a lot with my friends. That's what gives me abs.
And pandas don't even have abs. Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of belly.
That was good.
No, but that's great though. When you look at sleep and how it really affects your physique goals, when you're in a catabolic state like that, stress is high, you're not sleeping, you could be losing weight, muscle's going with it. So if you are in a deficit and you are losing weight and you're like, damn, I'm losing 2 pounds a week, hell yeah, I'm getting shredded, a lot of that's muscle.
Yeah.
If you're getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, so even if you do lose the weights, you get to your goal that you want to get to, say you're at 180, you get to 160, you're not going to be happy with your physique. And I've experienced this firsthand. I've lost 30 pounds, a lot of it was muscle, and I get there and I'm like, well, I look like shit. What was the point of this? Now I have to rebuild the muscle, now I have to take time, and then I do it all over again, and if you do the same thing, you stay stuck, and then you're just bouncing between 20, 30 pounds and never really achieve your goal. So you can't really neglect one because it's going to affect you in other ways. Now, if you look at nutrition, well, if your nutrition's ass, you're probably not going to lose weight or gain weight the way you want to, and if your training is ass, you're not going to build muscle. You can have proper recovery, great nutrition, but if you train like a pussy, you're not going to build muscle.
I think what you want is for him to break down 100%, like you said, 40% sleep, 40% diet, 20% exercise. I think what's better is looking at all three different scales and looking at them at all out of 100. So how is your sleep? If you're getting 80% sleep, you're great. I think if you're even doing like 50% exercise, but your diet is 90, 95%, I think you're gonna come out. I think that formula is you're crushing it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really think there's anybody at 100% on all three.
No, definitely not. I mean,
Unless
you do
you're
have
a fucking bodybuilder. I think that's what the bodybuilders are actually.
100%. And
I don't think we want to be Do you want to be a bodybuilder?
see, and I'm so glad you brought this up. I was going to really dive into bodybuilding and take it a lot further than I now anticipated. But I don't plan on taking that route anymore. For the reasons being is that I don't know one bodybuilder that lives the life that I want to live. And before it was just around me, I was like, I want to do this. Don't get me wrong, I still want to reach a certain level of physique just to say I did. But I don't want to dedicate the next 10 years of my life to looking in an exact certain way. Yeah. But you're right. That is the goal. You have to nail your nutrition, your training, and your recovery as best as possible.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
So now, like I said, for the last topic that we were talking about, why is it so important that even employees, or as a business owner, why should you care that your employees are they should be seeking out personal trainers themselves.
One, as a business owner, I think it's highly admirable and honorable that you would want your employees to push health. It means you care about them, it means you care about their families. And if you know that if they're in a healthy state, they're going to provide the best for their family, they're going to keep their family healthy, they're going to come to your workplace and give you your best. And it all just comes full circle. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you want your employees to be at that level and be producing the best at work, you also have to be showing it as an example as well. Like we mentioned back, if you are out of shape, you're fat, and you tell your employees don't be fat, they're gonna laugh at you. They're not gonna take you serious.
That's like the whole fat personal trainer idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it. It's not even that. I just wouldn't take advice from literally anybody that doesn't have what I want.
Yep.
So when I do go to the gym and I see a fat personal trainer, I'd be like, why am I taking advice from you?
Exactly.
You know? So
before taking advice from anybody, really look at the fruits of their belief system. If there are no fruits, then you probably shouldn't be taking their advice.
Also, as a business owner, I want to make sure that my employees are at the top shape, physically and mentally ready to accomplish whatever our goals and our mission is for the company. So if, as we were saying, making sure that they have great sleep, they're actually at the best physique they can possibly be in, they are going to be laser focused when they clock in at work. Yep. The last thing I want is somebody clocking in, wasting 8 hours of my time, and then I have to pay them and they got nothing done, right? Because they were so tired they fell asleep, which I've had experience. Like even when I was working, when I built my team in the Philippines, dude, we were working in the middle of the night because we had to work U.S. Pacific Standard Time hours. And yeah, dude, there were some times where like some of my employees, they were like, I'm getting horrible sleep. And I was like, you guys got to make sure as soon as I know it's tempting to like, oh, the sun is up, let's go do stuff. Yeah. Like, you got to get your rest, man.
It's a short-term sacrifice.
Yeah.
For a long-term payout.
Absolutely. So I've experienced this full-hand as a business owner who owns close to 20 employees.
Owns?
Oh, sorry. Manages close. Owns. I have employees in the company. I think that makes sense. How would I say? Employees. Manages. Hires. I have.
They're not your slaves.
Yes, they're my slaves. No, of course not. No. So I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I want to make sure that these guys are on top of their shape, that they're not falling asleep, that they're being taken care of financially, mentally, physically. Everything, right? I really, really care about my employees, so I'm always constantly asking them how they're doing, if you need to take a day off, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why it's so important to have an entire company mission, company core values of like, hey, we need to take care of each other. We need to make sure that everybody's doing good.
So those topics that you just hit, I believe, are a huge bridge to something that we do but haven't spoke about, which is fasting.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is huge. Yep. And I would like to start by saying anything and everything I do I earn, especially my meals and sleep. So I normally go to bed at 2 a.m, and I know that sounds crazy. I normally eat my first meal at 2 p.m. because I always tell my people, my employees, everybody, I would much rather be hungry and focused than have a full belly but groggy and sleepy and drowsy and all the other negative effects that comes with having a full belly of pancakes and grits and all that stuff. So like lightly hit the topic about so what is fasting, first of all?
So intermittent fasting is, just so you know, it's a glorified eating schedule. If you were looking into intermittent fasting to give you the craziest body, like, it doesn't work that way. You're simply eating in a certain time frame. That's it. Some people like from 12 to 8. Some people like from 4 to 12. Whatever works for you, and if you like it and it works for you, run with it. I love intermittent fasting. I don't do it because of my physique goals right now. I got to eat over 3,000 calories, and that's kind of hard to do in a small window. But it's good that you mentioned that because it comes back down to having clarity behind what you want.
Correct.
Somebody who is fasting is probably going to prioritize work a little bit more because you're more aware, you're sharper. I'd rather, like you said, I'd rather be hungry than groggy while I'm working. And it's kind of hard to intermittent fast when you're trying to build muscle. It just sucks. Eventually, I'm gonna get to a point though where I won't be focused on building muscle. I'll have a lot of muscle. My goal will be to sustain that muscle, and then I can focus a lot more on work, fasting, and switching up my diet a little bit. As of right now, though, I got to be eating a lot of carbs, a lot of protein, a lot of fats, and it does have me feel groggy in the morning. So,
So I was actually telling my parents, I was like, because when I brought them out here to like Las Vegas, they stayed with me and everything. They're like, "Vamos a almorzar," meaning let's go get breakfast. And I was thinking, who the hell wakes up and thinks the first thing? Because I've done this for years now. I was like, who thinks about just waking up and eating food? But that's just how we're raised.
Yeah.
That literally is how we're raised. And you were explaining to my dad that breakfast is a fake meal. It's not a fake meal.
It's a
it's
marketing
fake.
tactic.
It was
definitely a marketing tactic.
big corporations push the idea
General Mills.
that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and they were pushing pancakes,
Orange
milk,
juice.
bacon, sausage, eggs.
All that stuff that's horrible for you. And
All
don't
the
get me
pork.
wrong. All that pork, yeah. And don't get me wrong. I love. So those foods that you mentioned would fall under the umbrella of breakfast. I'll kill that one day when I'm super faded and I'm leaving the club at like 4:30 in the morning, right?
Right.
But that's like once every 6 months.
Exactly. So, I mean, the only thing there that I'll probably say that it's good, nutritious, the eggs, right? Everything else is just,
It depends what you're looking at. You
Right.
don't really need it necessarily. They don't have too much micronutrients. If you want it for the sake of calories, like for me is what I need a lot of times. So it's like, fuck, I need to smack a lot of calories right now. So pancakes would be beneficial for me.
Right.
Not for the micronutrients, but for the calories itself.
calories.
But no, you got a good point. I absolutely love breakfast, though. That's my problem. I love fasting, but I love breakfast. But I don't have breakfast just in the morning. I'll eat pancakes
Yeah,
8
and
p.m. in the
anyways,
day.
you guys got to realize the whole point of breakfast is you're breaking a fast.
Yeah.
That's what breakfast stands for. It doesn't matter when you eat it. It's whenever you break a fast, that is breakfast. So you're going to have breakfast at any time, okay?
I was actually talking to my doctor and I was like, hey, like, I want to get to the point where. So right now, my fasting schedule, which is my glorified eating schedule, is that was a great. You put it like in a great way. Is 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So I try not to eat past 8 p.m. Sometimes I think yesterday I ate at 8:45 and I was like, oh wow, I'm 45 minutes late. But that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
My window is that yesterday was 7 hours. Correct.
Yeah, it's just a rule of thumb, essentially. People think it is a superpower, something crazy, but it's not. It's like if it works for you, stick to it.
Another tool to the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling my doctor, I was like, hey, I want my eating schedule to be from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And she goes, I'm glad you said that because we're going to work on that, just not right now. And I was like, well, that's cool. I'm glad she's on board. I'm definitely glad my doc is on board. So, and then I was telling her about me completely fasting 0 calories for the first 5 days of the month, with the exception of December and February, because obviously February is my birthday, and December, my mom's birthday is on the 4th. So we know
tamales, champurrado,
Yeah,
we know how
all
we
the good
taste.
stuff.
You guys
All the
know how
good
we
stuff.
taste,
it's gonna happen.
Which
Totally understand.
Which I'll eat breakfast those days. No, so I think probably like, do we need to cover anything else? Because I have a question.
Yeah, actually, one of the last questions that I wanted to ask you that we got ready for you was, you're a business owner and entrepreneur yourself, right? So as an entrepreneur in the fitness industry, what has been roadblocks and struggles throughout your journey in this entrepreneurship world specifically for personal fitness? And if you can talk about that way, in case somebody listening is thinking about, hey, I love fitness as well, I want to be a personal trainer too. What are the things that are going to come up that might stop me along the way, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so that's good, and I think it falls all under like the same type of principles, similar problems. So one of the biggest problems I ran into was that I thought understanding things about nutrition and training was going to build me a successful business. And then you realize that you need sales, you need marketing, you need copy, you need other skills, you need business skills if you do want to grow a business.
Absolutely.
So you can be a great coach, you can be a great trainer, a great teacher, but if you don't have the business skills, the business IQ for things, how are you going to help people?
That is correct, because that was one of my struggles as well. I know how to fix credit,
Yeah.
build credit, all the credit stuff. I know it,
Yeah.
right? But the struggle was coming like, how should I market? How should I hire? How should I train them? What are everything on the business side, right? So definitely. So I know that you had a major roadblocks along your way, but
Yeah.
I really want you to talk about them here on the podcast, and that way because I'm pretty sure other people can have a similar experience, even
Yeah.
if they don't do personal training.
No,
themselves.
100%. And a lot of people can relate to this. I've talked to mentors, I've talked to just people running their own businesses.
Everybody has roadblocks.
Yeah, it's part of the game, and I tried avoiding them for a long time, and now I really embrace them. I'm like, oh, I'm on this chapter of my entrepreneurial journey. And one of the biggest, one of the biggest ones I ran into was hiring and delegating. So stepping from a solopreneur into a entrepreneur and actually running a team. That was a big stepping stone, and with that came imposter syndrome. Like, whoa, now I'm a boss. I have to pay people out. I have to worry about taxes. I have to worry about things that I wasn't worrying about a year before. And that came with some imposter syndrome. And then came the next problem of scaling too fast, where the things started moving. They started moving really quick. We had to make quick hires. We didn't necessarily set up the business in the best way possible to make sure margins were healthy. And then because we scaled too fast, the offer started to suffer, so our product itself. Client delivery wasn't at its best, and that's the most important thing. You have to take care of your people. You have to take care of the people that are trusting you with their health or their credit or their product, their money, whatever it is. Correct. They have to be able to trust you fully, and there needs to be some type of connection.
Awesome. So how did you overcome these? Obviously, hiring too fast, scaling too fast.
Yeah.
How did you overcome this?
So you have to look at things for what they are and not what you want them to be. It doesn't matter if you're like, oh, I can get through this. If the math says that you can't, you need to downscale and go back to the drawing board. And for a while, I tried fighting it. I tried being like, no, I can outwork this. And we all have that belief, and it's good to be delusional to that point, but there also comes a point where you need to be real and be like, okay, cool, we need to make some changes, even if it hurts the ego a little bit, even if it means downscaling, even if it means not focusing on sales, and instead, even if that means not focusing on sales and marketing and focusing more on the product, which isn't necessarily that fun because it's not giving you a return right away. You're not seeing the money come up front, which could be a little bit scary to some people. You're used to this much coming in, now you're used to this much coming in because you're focusing on the product and not on sales. And I think just grinding it out, knowing that this is the phase that you're in and that you're still moving forward is huge. So one big thing is, a mentor told me a while ago, is that you can make progress while not looking at revenue. Revenue is not the only indicator of progress. Kind of like in fitness, the scale isn't the only indicator of progress. If you take a step back, revenue drops a little bit, but now your product's amazing. Did you really go backwards?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, like, one of the hardest things that you had to do was let go of people, correct?
Yes.
And as a business owner
That's easy
myself,
for me.
yeah, I know. That is something that I admire about you, because you know how to make the tough calls. Because for me, one of my biggest issues, like, I've sometimes held onto employees just because I felt bad. Like, I felt like I was the one failing them, right? When
100%.
In reality, probably the best decision I could have made for everybody else in the entire company should have been, hey, I need
making it sooner.
Getting rid of them. Luckily, I'm not in that position anymore. We found a good purpose for that person right now, and I'm very happy about it. So, and the person was also pregnant, and she just gave birth to her lovely daughter.
And still wants to work.
And still wants to work,
So
which is insane.
That's a worry.
I told her to take a week off, and then she's like, "No, I need to work," which is amazing. So, So again, that's why like I feel blessed to have people who really care about me, really care about the business,
Yeah.
are all about the mission that we have and what we're working towards. But yeah, sometimes making that tough call is the way to go, and you had to do it. And however, how are things coming up now, right?
Oh, they're great now because we focus on what matters: the
Correct.
product, delivery, making sure we create the best experience for our clients, culture. We fixed everything that needed to be fixed, and we wouldn't have seen that needed to be fixed if it didn't fall apart first.
Gotcha. Absolutely, that makes total sense because you need to see what's breaking down
Yeah.
and downscale, take a time off, and be like, how do I fix these cracks in my
Yep.
business? And one of the other things that you did was also merge your company with somebody else.
Yes.
So what were the struggles and how were you able to accomplish that?
So I actually merged with my best friend. We moved to San Diego together from Monterey. We didn't know each other. We messaged each other on Instagram. We both wanted to do fitness, and we're like, you know what? Let's move in together and build a business. So we built ours separately. We proved to ourselves that we can run a successful business on our own. We both did over 6 figures, slightly over 6 figures, nothing crazy.
Nice.
And then from that, we're like, okay, we both know that we're putting in the work. We live together, we room together. Let's build this together. We jumped in,
Powerhouse.
we teamed up, and yeah, we leverage each other. I have certain skills that he leverages, and he has certain skills that he's just way better at me at. So we teamed up, and with that, we merged his team, my team. That's why we also scaled fast. So we became like a team of 8 overnight. You know, he had 4 people, I had 3 people, and then us 2. I mean, whatever. I think that's 9 people. But yeah, like overnight, you know,
Has to
you
be the boss.
yeah,
Right?
like overnight that just happens. So how
Absolutely.
do you run that? You know?
Yeah, but again, so much leverage.
Yeah.
So much leverage.
I think it would be dope to be in somebody's personal training and go from having one personal trainer to 2.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that would be dope. It's like, oh, I'm getting 2 for the price of 1. You
Yeah.
know?
Which actually the other thing is that I didn't know is a lot of, again, since entrepreneurs are, what was the word you used?
Solopreneur.
Solopreneur. Yeah. They're
Bro,
all about.
I'm reading you. See, I'm paying attention here.
Same
They're
wavelength.
very. The other word I was trying to use is how you described entrepreneurs earlier. They're very driven. They're very. I can't think of the word right now. However,
They're competitive.
competitive.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you're competitive tells you I don't want to partner with anybody. I can do this all by my
Yeah.
own. And then
That's the
when you realize that when you partner with people, and then all of a sudden everything that you wanted to get done, and you were thinking, maybe I'm gonna get all this done in the next month, you get them done in 2 days.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, we just got all of this done. We just did all this for the company, and now we're running things.
Yeah.
And the biggest example I have that is because you and I partner up for a company,
Yeah.
and we have another business partner, Garen, and
These are
I feel
flying.
like I've destroyed we're about to destroy an entire industry.
Yeah, what would have taken months took like a week. It's
Correct.
nuts.
This is gonna blow some minds. I'm gonna get completely and randomly off topic, but this is like one of the examples that Eddie was talking about earlier. How I put things together. It's 5th grade in elementary,
Okay, here we go.
and we're thinking of a math problem. And you know how like you be learning math, and you're like, when am I ever gonna use this in my life, right? The problem was, it takes one person 2 hours to mow one lawn. How quickly would it take 2 people to mow the same lawn? The formula is A times B over A plus B. It doesn't take you half the time. When 2 people work together, you work 3 times as fast.
Oh, damn.
And this was back in 5th grade. I was 10 years old. 10 years of age. I don't like to use that word. I was 10 years of age and 27 now. 17 years later, I'm using that formula.
There you go. But yeah, it was such a big thing that now I'm thinking about doing that for every single company that I own. Like, why am I doing this by myself?
Yeah, do it with other
Why am I doing this by myself when it was so much more enjoyable getting on a Zoom call and be like, Mario, you do this, Gary and I, you do this, I
Yeah.
do this, and then literally stay on the Zoom call. We're just working our ass off, and then like in 15 minutes we just got a shit ton of stuff done.
It's
By the way,
nuts.
yeah, I also know Garen. Surprise, surprise. He's dope. He's super dope.
This is somebody else that we want to interview soon.
He'll be down here when we
He'll
get our
be
mega
soon.
mansion.
Correct. 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 So perfect, man. Mario, again, thank you for coming to podcast. Lastly, the last thing we want to cover is how do
get a
we bring
hold of
value to you? You've been giving us a lot of value. You've been dropping a lot of points. How
do we reach out to you?
How can somebody reach
How do
out
we
to you?
contact
What
you?
services do you
Do they have
offer?
to go through us?
Yeah,
Plug yourself.
Plug yourself in. Let's go. Let's hear it. Let's hear
Alright,
your sales
so
pitch right here.
For Instagram, just follow me at Mario Macias. It's gonna be 2 S's after Macias. We do have a Facebook group as well, so just click my Instagram, go to my link bio. That's where we're gonna put out a lot of free games. So if you want to learn how to get jacked for absolutely free, make sure to join that Facebook group. We also do a bunch of crazy offers for our one-on-one coaching. It's probably where you're gonna receive the most amount of value for free. And we're gonna be jumping on YouTube. If you want to follow me on TikTok to see me post dumb shit, Mario25 Macias, and that's my plug.
Anything
Awesome.
and everything he said about his socials, we're actually going to be linking as well. So
Perfect.
Correct.
he speaks a little fast like myself, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to keep up.
Just slow down.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I actually enjoyed this.
Yeah,
This is
appreciate you guys.
amazing.
Thank you guys
This
so
was a
much,
great
man.
topic.
Thank you.
Oh, stuff. Thanks.
This is
Nice
amazing.
handshake
Appreciate
there.
Fitness is definitely
Thank you, guys.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Awesome.
Competitive.
You guys, again, thank you for tuning in to another podcast episode. We'll see you guys next week. Again, every single Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Signing out.
All right,
Peace.
later.
Later, guys. Come on, focus. Take one. Marker. Oh, shoot.
You might need that again.
Yeah.
All right.
If you don't mess up, we won't need it again.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.